going to talk to you about using gentle movement and breathing to increase your balance and reduce stress on the joints and muscles. We're doing this in honor of Todd Wright, who's going on a sabbatical where he's going to be walking a lot, and we want to participate in that too. I'm Barb Smith, a member of Village Chapel Presbyterian Church. I've developed this method based on what other people have told me in various classes using other exercise methods, and I'm realizing that they're all trying to get to one basic thing, and the basic is what I'm going to try and teach you today and over the 12 weeks of Todd's sabbatical. Don't do this if you feel so imbalanced that you're unsafe. Don't do this if it's going to increase your pain sharply. And if you have any concerns about doing this at all and want to do it, talk to your health professional. Now, this class is just the beginning, but we're going to talk about the very basic part of the method, which you need to use through the whole time we're doing this. A skeleton can hold itself upright, almost without any help from muscles at all. So this class is going to teach you how to balance your skeleton with minimal effort. And with that balance of your skeleton, you then will become balanced. You're going to be able to move with ease and grace and less effort. And we're going to try and show you how to do this while standing, sitting, and walking. At first, we're going to do a lot of just standing because you need to find where your balance point is. Now, if you can stand up, you can do this class. Even if you need a cane or a walker to help you move, you don't need any special clothing, and it is best to be barefoot while you're standing on a hard floor so you can feel what we're trying to get you to feel. If your feet need more padding, use some socks and as thin a mat as possible. All the exercises are going to be done while standing or sitting, and you probably need to have 1 or 2 chairs handy as you start, just in case you're going to lose your balance that you can hold on to, or something else that will help you with your balance. Now, here's the basic routine. You want to rock back and forward with the weight evenly distributed across your whole foot. Not the toe. You don't want the toes. You just want to have that whole foot, the weight distributed. And you want to rock back and forth like this. And feel how the weight is in your feet. You want the weight to stay the same on your feet. So when you go forward, I kind of feel like I'm Superman, sort of holding this back and forth, back and forth. And then you want to crouch down a little bit. Now, this is probably an exercise that you've done in exercise classes where they want you to really crouch. I'm wanting you to just crouch a little bit, keeping the weight evenly distributed on your feet, and come back up. Evenly distributed, come back up, evenly distributed. And so it's a small motion, probably smaller than you do in your exercise classes if you do those. And now if in doing this, if you find that you're holding your tummy in, if you're tensing the glute muscles or keeping your knees locked, you need to stop it. So, because what you want to do is feel that natural balance of your pelvis that you don't override it with muscles. This is the work that you need to do to keep your pelvis properly centered. Now the muscles that hold you upright are very deep in the body, and you can't feel those. And these are the muscles that are going to be stabilized and strengthened with this method. Muscles to move your arms and legs are going to take a supporting role in different ways. And you may feel something here in your tummy with maybe things, mostly with your muscles stretching out, that you might, if I have a tendency to go like this, so when I'm standing up straight, I feel some stretching in my muscles. And then you have some muscles that are going to be working less hard, and you won't feel those at all. So let's go through this routine again. You want to have your weight evenly distributed on your feet, not gripping your toes, and you want to lean forward and back. And this is where if you need your chair, if you need it, hold on to your chair. And only go as far as you feel that you can with stability. Rocking back and forth. And then you want to just go up and down. Doesn't have to be very, very far. Again, feeling how the weight distributes on your feet. That's the important part. And so you want to end up releasing the weight of your body into the earth by getting it balanced and relaxing all the muscles around the pelvis that you might normally hold. And the more that you relax into the earth, the more you're going to feel it actually lifts you up when you do that. So, rock back and forth. I'll do it this way too. Back and forth. Small little things that you do. Now, babies, if you've been around a baby, you know that they do a lot of movement. And they do it, they learn how to balance on their own, they learn how to move on their own, and they work at it with joy and delight. You should approach this in the same way. Work at it with joy and delight. Now, in the next session, we're going to review the important parts of this lesson since it's so basic and so critical to learning the method. The second lesson in this series is called Feeling Your Feet and Being Curious About Your Mind-Body Connection. Once again, don't do this if you feel like these exercises and these movements are making you off balance to where you're going to fall. Don't do it if they're increasing your pain level. And if you feel you want to do this and have concerns, you can talk to your medical professional about this. We're going to review the basics that we went through last week because they're so critical to understanding this method. Subsequent lessons are going to move on into balancing other parts of your body. Your slow, small movements allow your mind and your body to talk to each other. If you move them too fast or too quickly, it doesn't connect. So we're going to do things slowly and small movements. Again, if you can stand up, you can do this. You don't need any special clothing. You should have something close by to catch you if you lose your balance, like a chair. And I'm going to go through the method that we did last week and add one more movement to it. Do these movements at your own pace, not at my pace, and listen to your body and your balance as you do it. But first of all, you want to rock back and forward with the weight evenly distributed on the bottoms of your feet. Lean back like you're leaning back into bed. Lean forward. I feel like I'm Superman when I'm going like this, or Superwoman maybe. And then you want to just give a little bend to your knees and push yourself back up. This needs to be small movement, different than you probably do in your exercise class. But the idea is to feel that balance that you're going to feel in the bottoms of your feet. Now, one more thing, we're going to roll down. This is another movement that you might also do in your exercise class. It's going to help to release these tight muscles back here. So you can have your knees bent a little bit if you need to, and roll down slowly, only as far as you feel that you want to go. It's not trying to touch your feet. The idea is to get yourself relaxed and feeling the balance in the bottom of your feet while you move. So I can go all the way down, but you don't need to do that to get the benefit of it. If you're holding your tummy in, if you're tensing your glute muscles or keeping your knees locked, you need to work to stop that, because those are keeping your pelvis from actually balancing. Now, many muscles hold the spine in correct alignment and are close to the bone and can't be felt. The psoas muscle, and that is spelled P-S-O-A-S, is very important to standing up. It fans along the spinal column, all of these vertebrae that are below your rib cage. They come out, they go inside your pelvis and attach to the upper part of your leg. A malfunctioning psoas muscle is very common and can result in lower back pain and sciatica. These muscles will allow these deep muscles to strengthen and stretch and work as they are designed. Muscles to move your arms and legs are going to take supporting roles in different ways than before. So let's go through the method again. Rock while you're feeling the weight still distributed across your feet in the same way as when you're standing upright, rocking back and forth, crouching, pushing back up through the whole foot, not just your heels, not just the balls of your feet, the whole foot, rocking back and forth, and then doing a little bit of a stretch with your knees. Your knees don't have to be locked, and only go as far down as you feel comfortable doing, and then coming back up. Again, when you're doing this, the work that you're doing is feeling the pressure in your feet and feeling that it stays the same while you move. Release the weight of your body into the earth by relaxing your tummy, glutes, and knees. And again, approach this in the same way that a baby would, working at it with joy and delight, and recognizing that there's going to be lots of things that are going to keep you from responding to these thoughts and movements. Your muscles aren't balanced. Your eyes and your ears will all say, well, that's not the way I normally do this, and they want you to go back to the old ways. So the idea is to do this as often as possible. I suggest that you spend 5 to 10 minutes at a time, twice a day, with your shoes off, really going through this method. And then, when possible, in your normal course of events when you've got shoes on, you can also feel a balance with your feet when your shoes on, but it's to be a little different. So your pelvis will be a little bit different, and that's okay. That's what you want to learn how to do. So the more that you can communicate mind to the body, the better off you'll be. So the letting your weight sink into the floor with relaxed muscles is your key to success. The next lesson is going to talk about proper breathing that's going to help you align your torso with the pelvis. Today's lesson is about breathing. I know you all do it, but we're going to learn how to breathe in a better way. Again, don't do these things if they cause you to experience pain or discomfort or make you feel like you're going to lose your balance. You should have a chair available to you today, because when we're starting to do some breathing exercises, it makes some people dizzy at first, and you want to be sitting down when we do this. So get your chair handy. We're going to, again, review the basic centering exercises where you do these at your own pace, listening to your body and balance. You want to rock back and forth, keeping the weight centered on your feet, not clutching your toes. Your knees should be soft, not locked. And then you want to go up and down. We don't want this to be a big movement. We want you to feel that pressing, keeping the balance correct and pressing through your whole foot to come back up. And then we're going to lean over, stretching your back. Don't force anything, just go as far as you can naturally and come back up. And while you're doing that, feel the pressure in your feet to make sure that you're still keeping that pressure equalized across the bottoms of your feet. This is something that you should do every day. Now, when you do this, you shouldn't be holding your tummy in, you shouldn't be tensing the glute muscles or keeping your knees locked, so that your weight can just fall down into the ground. Now, the lesson after this is going to teach you how to balance your head on your spine, which is important since it is so heavy. But today we're going to learn how to breathe, allowing that torso to relax and adjust into balance. There are two types of breathing. One is very short and shallow, which you need if you're going to be running, fighting, or fleeing. The other uses your diaphragm, which is that big muscle around here, and it allows your breath to reach all parts of your lungs and relaxes your body, strengthens your back, and massages all of your internal organs. Now, because this makes some people dizzy, I would suggest that you sit down until you're accustomed to it. Your chest cavity, when you use your diaphragm, opens and closes like an umbrella. Like you had an umbrella right here that's opening and closing. So the whole chest cavity goes open and closed. Let me describe the method first before you try it so that you know what's happening. And because I don't want you to be holding your breath for while I continue on. And then once I say this once, then I will say it again and you can do it with me. So sit if you're not used to this. Relax. Breathe out slowly until the diaphragm is fully open. But not to the point where you're forcing air out of your lungs. If you have your mouth open slightly, you get more air out of your lungs. Now, relax. Don't breathe in until your body says, breathe. And when you breathe back in, that breath in should be deep and long. and then you repeat. The reason this makes some people dizzy is this method gets the parasympathetic nervous system involved, and some people aren't used to having that involved, so that's what makes you dizzy. So let's do this together. Relax. Breathe out slowly, opening that diaphragm like an umbrella until your diaphragm is open fully, but not to the point where you're forcing additional air out of your lungs. And you can open your mouth slightly to let more air out. Now, relax. And don't breathe in until your body says, breathe. The breath back in should be deep and long. And then you repeat. Now, a stronger diaphragm, which this will give you, can result in less acid reflux because it's going to strengthen the top of your chest cavity, and there's less chance of urinary incontinence because it strengthens the bottom, in addition to massaging all of your internal organs. Now, while you're sitting, let's exercise your feet and ankles, because in a few weeks, when we learn how to walk while your body is in balance, you're going to find that your feet will need to flex more than you're used to. So your foot's going to have to do this in order to keep you in balance when you walk. So having strong and flexible feet and ankles is going to be important for you to walk correctly. So flex your toes back and forth. Spread out your toes and relax. Just move those toes. And then you can also, to strengthen your ankles, you can draw the alphabet in the air to strengthen both your feet and your ankles. You can do this anytime while you're sitting. It's a great exercise to do while you're watching television. So the next lesson we'll teach you how to balance your heavy head on top of your spine to keep the balance going. This is lesson number 4. The title of it is Be a Bobblehead. The previous lessons have shown you ways to balance your pelvis and strengthen your diaphragm. Today we're going to go up and we're going to learn how to balance the head. So the more times that you can connect your body and mind using these balance movements and tips, the quicker you're going to develop that balance habit. Now, I find that when the pelvis and head are aligned and in balance, my breathing gets deep and effortless, and my shoulders automatically fall into alignment. But here's another tip for helping this upper torso be in balance. Put mental weights on your elbows. And as your elbows get heavy, that pulls your shoulders down and more into alignment. Now your head balances on top of your spine at a very small point. It's not connected, it just balances. Your head weighs as much as a bowling ball, and it can put a lot of stress on your neck and your back when it is out of balance. And it's no wonder that we get neck and back muscles that are all tense and knotted back through here, because it's just trying to hold up your head. I think of my imbalanced head as a bobblehead. It's in balance. It's going to be aligned right on that small point at the top of the spine. A little pressure is going to cause it to move, but the bobblehead will recenter as soon as it stops moving. So to bring your head into alignment, put your hand gently against the back of your neck and move your hand upward slightly. Now, gently press your head back into your hand. and make a mental note of just kind of what point on the top of your head lifts up when you do that. It's probably not where you think it would be. And just be aware of what that is like. Now, you don't want to force your chin back. This does not get your head into the right alignment. So you want to put your hand gently against the back of your neck, move it upward slightly, and gently press your head against the back of your hand. Sometimes you can actually just find that little spot in the back of your skull that the skull goes up like this in the back, and you can press right there in that upward spot, and that also helps you bring your head into right alignment. Now, while you develop this habit, your eyes and your ears and probably your muscles unconsciously and powerfully will try to pull you back to your former habit. Your eyes will, when you put your head in right alignment, your eyes are going to be moving up and looking out at a different point than it's used to. It's just one of those things that you have to learn to overcome. I even had my bifocals readjusted when I started to get my head in better alignment, because I realized that my bifocals, I wasn't looking out through them correctly. So, to review the basic centering exercise, because that's key to everything. You want to do all these movements at your own pace, do them often, find joy in doing them, because you're going to find that newfound sense of balance and control when you connect your body and your mind. So you rock back and forth with your weight evenly distributed on the bottom of your feet, and don't grip your toes. Crouch slightly and press up from the feet while keeping your weight evenly distributed on the bottom of your feet. This crouch doesn't have to be big. You just want to get that feeling of moving while keeping that weight centered. If you're holding your tummy in, tensing your bum, keeping your knees locked, all of those things will not let this happen, and you do need to work to stop that. Now we're going to do some roll downs. Do this also while keeping your weight evenly balanced on your feet, while both going down and when coming back up. It's not important to roll down a long way. Only go as far as you feel comfortable. And you start by putting your chin to your chest and rolling down and coming back up. I can roll down a lot, but you don't have to. It's a matter of getting that feeling of what it's like to move a little bit while keeping your pelvis balanced and your head balanced. Now you may want to test your newfound center of balance. When you're in balance, your heels, your bum, your shoulders, and the back of your head should all rest easily on a door or a wall. Don't force your body into that position. Just, you might want to just back up against the door or the wall and see where you are, and move and realize that, well, my head isn't quite right, and work a little more on your head. Now in a few lessons we're going to learn how to walk while your body's in balance, and you're going to find that your feet will flex more than they're used to. So having strong and flexible feet will be important for you to walk correctly. So you need some exercises for your feet and ankles, and these are all things you can do while you sit in a chair and you're watching TV, or if you want to just do like I am, standing up. So you want to flex your toes back and forth, spread your toes out and back, And then you can draw the alphabet in the air. So you can do all that and get ready to when in a few lessons we're going to learn how to walk. Now we're going to move into another lesson where we start to move, but it's only a little bit. This is lesson number 5. Don't just stand there, move, but we're going to start by moving just a little bit. The basic lessons so far have shown you how to feel your balance, focusing on the feelings at the bottoms of your feet and moving your head into right alignment so that you are in balance. Now, you don't want to hold yourself up. You want to let your skeleton hold you up, because the skeleton can almost do that on its own. We sort of, through our habits and so forth, short circuit that and let your skeleton hold you up. Feel the weight fall into the bottoms of your feet without tightening any muscles that you can feel. So when you're in that neutral, balanced position, you shouldn't be aware of any muscles working. Now, you should feel and allow your muscles trying to stretch when you're in that alignment. If you're used to doing this and now you're standing up, you're going to have some muscles stretching, and that's good. Let them stretch, and you're going to feel those. But only when you reach out an arm or move a leg will you be actually moving a muscle to move. Let your mind and your body talk together while you're doing all these things, and be like a baby, intent on the process, but letting your joy and your delight well up as you do this. So we can't just stand here forever in balance. We have to learn how to move in balance. But I'm going to take you through this very slowly, because if you get out here and you're not in balance and you haven't been in balance, you've missed that whole process of getting there. So we're going to move very slowly with lots of lessons to where we get to where we can walk. Starting to move your weight from foot to foot starts with your intention, and then a very small adjustment of the balance of your pelvis to stay in balance. It's very important, but it's very subtle also. Don't short circuit this process, because it's harder to find your balance once you get out of balance. So we're going to start this by not moving our feet at all. Your head, torso, and pelvis constantly realign to stay in balance, no matter what you do. And if you are aware of and maintaining that standing balance while you move your arms slightly, you're going to feel there are just adjustments that are being made to all the work you're doing is to stay in balance, and you're going to move a little bit. It doesn't make any difference what movements you're doing with your arms. Feel how your body makes some adjustments while you move. Have fun and be silly if you want to. You can do whatever you want with your arms, and just enough to where you're going to feel that balance. Move for a while, come back, check. Am I still in balance? Get back in balance, move again. You can do this while you pumping gas, standing in line, while you're reaching for something in the kitchen cabinet, while you're brushing your hair, while you're showering. There's just all kinds of things that you do with your body while you're standing still, and you can do this anytime. Just have your mind and your body working together, knowing what points you need to be at. And then be aware that you're adjusting very slightly in order to stay in balance. It's that slight adjustment that is going to get you to the point where once you start to walk, you're going to feel that slight adjustment. So another tip, when you lift your arms, if you learn to keep your elbows down, when you lift up, you actually move your arms with your back muscles and not up here. Your shoulder muscles are not designed to lift your arms. And when I do this, I keep the front just completely relaxed, and I kind of feel like I have Tyrannosaurus Rex hands. But you can do a lot of practice with that, with your elbows down as far as you can get them towards the floor. For me, the hardest movement to correct has been actually with my arms up like this. I tend to get a lot out of balance. It's because I've got a lot of muscles here that are tense and tight. Now, when I am doing this, I feel muscles. I can move this, and I can feel muscles here moving and engaging. You remember the dim bones lesson where, the toe bone is connected to the foot bone, the foot bone is connected to the heel bone. Well, your muscles are all connected too. And that's just the wonderful way that we are made. So allow that feeling to happen, because that's where, when I do this and I'm feeling this in this area, is good. The Tai Chi people talk about a place that is an energy center. They call it the Dantian. It's 2 finger widths below your belly button. And when you feel movement there, it's beneficial. And if you would look at, I think if you look at a skeleton, you would find out that last big curve in your spine, in the biggest pelvic or skeletal disc, is right here. So just continue to do all these things, practicing. Next lesson, we're going to learn how to get up and down out of a chair while we're in balance. And I'm going to refer to the sits bones. The sits bones are the small points of bone in your pelvis that you sit on when you're sitting. They also are going to play a balancing role while you are standing and walking. And you may want to, because they're in a strange place, you may want to kind of, in private, feel around and feel where your sits bones are, so that when we talk about them, when you're standing up, you will know what I'm talking about. Class 6, getting up and sitting down, and don't sit on your tail. You're going to need a sturdy chair for this lesson, and until you feel confident while doing these movements, you may want to ask someone to help you so that you don't pitch. You're going to feel like you're going to pitch forward, and you may just feel better if you have someone standing by your side. So we want to just review. You want to listen to your body coming into balance, doing the movements often. Practice often at home if you can, with naked feet on the floor, or as little between you and the floor as possible. Put yourself in balance during the workday. And then when you are out and around and you put your shoes on, that also changes your balance. And practice that balanced feeling with shoes on. So we're trying to develop that ability for you to feel balance in those small micro adjustments that you need to do every day, and that's important. So we're just going to review again with the basics, where you rock back and forward. This is so important, to have the weight evenly distributed in the bottom of the feet. Don't grip your toes. crouch slightly and press up, keeping that weight evenly distributed across your feet. If you're going to hold, and you don't want to hold anything, you don't want to have your mommy say, hold your tummy in, don't listen to your mommy, and don't lock your knees. Allow those muscles that are stretching in order to keep you upright to do so. Now, you want to do some roll downs, keeping your weight evenly balanced on your feet. It doesn't matter how far you go down, just go down and back up. The important part is keeping that weight balanced, which you can feel by feeling the bottoms of your feet. Breathe deeply a few times and put mental weights on your elbows that will help you to lift up this part of the spine. Place your hand on the back of your neck gently. Push your hand up gently and slightly while letting your head go back and up. Become aware of that point on the top of your head that lifts up and how your head in balance feels. Now you should find eventually some joy and relaxation in doing all this and a better sense of balance and control. While you do this, be kind to yourself. The words should and ought don't have any place in this lesson. Skeletons they have actually gotten a skeleton to balance while sitting. So you really don't have to have muscles to balance while you're sitting. So we can learn to sit and get up and down with very little muscle work. Now, you're going to need a chair. When you're in a chair, your feet should, a proper chair for sitting should be at a level to where this is parallel to the floor and your feet can reach the floor easily. You're going to sit on your sits bones. Those are the bones, the small bones at the bottom of the pelvis that you actually sit on. They're going to play a balancing role when we're standing, but you do sit on them. Now, you all know where your tail would be if you had one. Don't sit on your tail. That's the main thing. Get a chair that works well, know where your sits bones are, and don't sit on your tail. Now, if I was going to sit on my tail, I would be slumping. If I'm not sitting on my tail, and you can just decide on what kind of tail you want depending on your mood. There's all kinds of tails you can imagine. Now, if you read or use your phone or your computer, your head is going to be pulling you forward and making you slump. That's just one of those things you're going to have to be aware of. You can have your head go forward without slumping forward. You can do a little pulling. So that's the important part about how you should be when you sit. But we got to stand up and sit down too. So this is going to look awkward at first to teach yourself how to do it. After a while, this will all balance out and you won't look and feel so awkward. If you have someone helping you, they should be standing about here. So you want to pull your feet back a little bit, about 3 inches, so they're more underneath of you. Now, if you have a chair or a couch where you can't do this, then you need to bring yourself forward a little bit so that you can get your feet underneath of you. Now you want to sit tall, have your head properly balanced. That's important. You want to lean forward, pick a spot on the floor, and point toward it. Look towards where you are pointing. If your head gets out of balance, this will not work. The key is keeping your head balanced, and we all want to get up like this. This gets you out of balance. If you get up like this, this works. So you just want to point and look, point and look, point and look, and all of a sudden, your bum will come off the chair. It just happens. And then, all you have to do is stand up, and you can press here if you need help. So that looks, nobody wants to do this and put your bum in the air in public, right? But this is, as you learn how this works, you will be able to stop pointing, because this is only to keep your head in alignment. You will be able to just feel where you are to stand up. This becomes very easy to stand up. Now, if you're going to sit down, you remember in the exercises that we do in the beginning, where we're just pressing back and forth on our feet? Well, we just want to do this more. And you sit down and back up. You might want to wait a while, learn how to get up before you teach yourself to sit back down easily. It may be that's more than you need to do at the beginning. Now, the next lesson, we're going to learn how to transfer weight from foot to foot while staying in balance. Lesson 7, transferring the weight from foot to foot, part 1. If you're not in balance when you walk, you're going to fall forward. And most people walk that way. They fall into their foot. It seems natural because we do this all the time, but it's hard on your body, it's hard on your muscles and your joints, and there's a much better way to do this. And when you do that, you're out of balance when you do this. So learning to transfer weight while in balance is the key to learning how to be in balance. And yet it's a subtle skill, it's easy to overlook, and there's a lot of moving parts when you walk. So we're going to do this very slowly and carefully. Stay with me to learn how to feel the weight transfer. You're going to feel like this lesson isn't very important, but it is. We're going to make baby steps towards walking, and then you're going to be able to walk easily in good balance. Now, most balance exercises, they want you to do this. I don't understand that, because how do you do this in real life? I mean, what good is this? And if you're out of balance as you start, and then you get up here, you're not learning, you're learning something, but you're not really learning how to walk in balance. It's going to short circuit the process of balancing. We want to learn how to stay in balance from the moment we think about starting to move. So the opportunity to feel and move in balance starts long before you put your foot out. So the movements that you've been practicing with your arms and balancing and standing and sitting are all a prelude to registering the small adjustments you need with your pelvis to stay in alignment. So continue to practice all of the previous exercises. Think of your pelvis as a fishbowl. Don't let that water slosh around while you're moving. And listen to your body, find that tension point, and figure out how you need need to let that go so you can relax and stay in balance. Now, place your feet hip distance apart and transfer the weight gently from foot to foot by transferring your weight from your sits bone to your sits bone. And those sits bones are about this far apart. Now, you're not going to be kicking your hip out. You're not going to be doing this. You're going to be pressing one foot into the floor, pressing the other foot into the floor. Maintain that even pressure across that whole foot. Once you feel this, you're going to feel there's a slight tucking motion in that hip that is staying in balance and holding your weight. You don't make that happen, but it does happen. It's necessary to keep that hip in alignment so that this can move. When you do this, if you can feel a connection between the arch of your foot, the inner knee, and your sits bone, if you can feel that connection, that really helps you to learn how to do this without at first you're going to move a lot, and then as you get to where you can do this better, you're going to move less and less, and it's the less and less that we want to find. I find the more I do this, the more I feel that connection between the knee and the sits bone. The deep muscles that you're engaging, that you won't feel working, are those that keep your pelvis stable. And it's going to keep your pelvis stable when you do lift your foot off the ground. What we're doing is trying to get you to get those muscles a little stronger and feel where they are, what the process is. You can also do this with your heel up against the arch of your other foot. You can do it this way, and then transfer the weight from foot to foot. See, I can start by doing this, but once I get to it, if I'm connected, I can transfer my weight, and my hips don't move. My hips don't kick out. They don't kick out this way. They're not kicking out this way. They're actually doing a little bit of a movement like this, which you don't make this happen, you let this happen. And if you can connect the inside of your knee to your sits bones mentally, that will help. This all may seem very trivial, but really this is the key for what you need to do so that you can walk in with your pelvis in alignment. And again, once we do start to walk, your toes, feet, and ankles need to be stronger, so keep doing those exercises for your feet and ankles. And next lesson, we're going to continue to strengthen those deep muscles that hold your pelvis in alignment so that when we do lift our foot off the ground, we can stay in balance. This is Class 8, Transferring the Weight from Foot to Foot, Part 2. Now, these exercises may seem to you so simple that you might not think that they are effective, but they are. The way that we transfer weight from foot to foot is actually pretty complex. So I'm breaking down that movement into small pieces for you to do on a basis where they're broken down, so you're developing your muscles, You're developing your mind-body connection so that when you do start to walk, you can do that and be in balance. Most people walk and they fall into it, or they wobble as they go. That you need to keep your balance from the time that you think, I'm going to move my foot, to the time that you move it. So, we're going to try to keep you from falling into your foot. Let's review the previous exercises, because those are foundational for everything. So you want to rock back and forward with keeping the weight on your feet across the whole foot, so that this you're not going back into your heels, you're staying with everything under your feet, so that this gets you to the point where you are holding your pelvis in the correct alignment. Then you want to crouch slightly and come back up. This doesn't have to be deep. What you want to learn how to do is go down with everything balanced on your feet, and then push up through that whole foot. And if you do this and you're still holding your tummy in, or any tightness around here, or locking your knees, you need to work to stop that, because you're short-circuiting this process. And now we do some roll downs, where you tuck your chin and you roll down. You don't need to go all the way to the floor. You just need to go as far as your body wants you to go. And then roll back up and get your hips in alignment, your head in alignment, and roll back down again. Do several of these. Mentally press your weight into your feet, whether that's releasing that or just a pressing feeling. That also helps you to move. That pressing feeling down actually helps you to move up into alignment. Breathe deeply a few times, and you can put mental weights in your elbows, and that helps you to pull that shoulders down in the right, and helps your head to come up. So, the previous lesson, we transferred our weight to from foot to foot while the feet were on the floor, and we actually pressed the weight into the floor while we were trying to not kick our hips out and not rocking from side to side. You want to keep this pelvis stable and maintain an even pressure on the foot that is getting weighted. So you can also place your feet in a position where you're going to be starting to walk and doing this, so it's a little closer together. Now, you want to press hard enough, put enough weight here that this heel comes up, and this heel comes up, this heel comes up, this heel comes up. This is the next part of teaching yourself to do this. This increases the amount of the muscles that are working to do this. And that's the key to your stability when you're staying in balance, is getting an awful lot of muscles here that you can't feel, and you can't say, okay, this little muscle, do this. What you do is you put your body in the right position, and you keep it in the right position, and that those muscles in there that are designed to work will work for you. Now, when I was in my 20s, my husband said that if I got off a sidewalk, I would fall over. And I think he was right. I mean, I had terrible, terrible, terrible balance. So I've come a long way in learning how to balance, and you can too. So keeping your pelvis from going from side to side or rocking from. You're going to rock from side to side when you start doing this, but you can learn to do this where you're not rocking from side to side, because that's more like what you're doing when you're walking, okay? Now remember, it's simple, but it's also complex. And you want to continue to strengthen your feet and ankles. So you need to do just some work with getting your toes working, your ankles working. You can draw an alphabet with your foot if you'd like, and you can do this anytime while you're sitting. But this is something that you're going to find when you do start walking. You're going to be using your feet a little bit differently, and we want to get your feet strong. So our posture is a result of our emotions and muscle memory, and our tensions will pull us out of alignment. So we kind of slump when we feel defeated, and we're happy we stand up. So try to also include your emotions with this. And so I leave you with saying, may you walk tall in joy and delight, and learn to balance as your Creator made you. And next week, we're going to do that first step to begin walking. This is class number 9, and we're going to take that important first step to where you're almost walking. We're going to try and remember to fit this practice into your daily routine. You can usually find about 10 minutes a day to do this when you're just focused on what you need to do. But in addition to that, all of these things can be done as you think of them during the day. When you get up from a chair, you can say, oh, okay, I'm going to be in balance. So I find that I do a lot in the shower in the morning, because it's a good place. Your muscles are pretty warm, and you've got a small space, and so it's pretty easy to feel where your feet are, and while you're doing those small motions that you do when you're in the shower. But you can do it while you're brushing your hair, sitting down for a meal, waiting for an elevator, standing in line at the store. So you just need to practice enough to make enough good habits. And while you're doing that, you unlearn the habits that you've made. It helps when you understand what it takes to be in balance, and so that gives you the ability to notice what you're doing. And you need to just choose to be in balance too, once you know what it takes. So we don't want to have any negative thoughts or other things interfering with that. So you don't want to say, oh, I'm just not doing this good enough. It's fine. It's a process. It takes a long time. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Do it with fun and no negative thoughts. So think of your pelvis as a fish bowl, and you don't want that water to slosh out while you're doing things. You want to learn to transfer your weight from your sits bones to your sits bones. Now, the sits bones are what you sit on when you're in a chair and you're not slumping. But when you're standing up, you will notice that your sits bones are about here. So when you transfer your weight, you don't want to transfer your weight from here to here, where you think maybe your hips are. You want to transfer your weight from here to here. So when you're thinking along that line, so you don't have very far to go to transfer your weight. That again will help you from rocking from side to side as you're doing this practicing. And the muscle that I feel is helping me do that runs from the inside of my knees up to my sits bones. And if I can feel a connection there, that also helps to keep me from rocking from side to side. So we started with just rocking, doing various things with our feet. We can have them hip width apart. We can have them closer like you're going to walk. We can put our heel up against our ankle and do it that way. And so the more that you do that, the more you're developing this muscle group that you need to keep you in balance. So you just need to repeat this often, repeat it slowly, relax, breathe, bring yourself back into alignment as often as you need to. So this lesson, we're going to go further than just lifting our heel off the floor. Last lesson, we transferred our weight to where the heel would come off the floor. This lesson, once it comes off the floor, you're going to step it forward, don't put any weight on it, and bring it back. So transfer your weight till the heel comes off the floor, put it forward and back. Transfer the weight, touch it forward and bring it back. That's all we want you to do. If you can get that far without twitching or getting out of balance, the walking is going to be just so much fun. So we're just creating the space so you can feel like you're in balance no matter what you're doing. Practice this often. We'll see you with the next lesson. Class 10, we are going to walk in balance today. The weight transfer is between your sits bones. You need to pay attention to that connection between the insides of the knees and the sits bones. And this weight transfer just goes from here to here, not out here. So you're going to keep your fishbowl pelvis from sloshing, and you're going to transfer your weight to where that heel comes up, put that foot out, and now we're going to move onto that foot. Once you move on that foot, it's really easy for you to do this with that pelvis getting out of alignment. You need to just put that foot down and move. Put that foot down and move. That's just one of those things that over time you will learn how to do. The more that you spend doing these preliminary things and getting these muscles that you need to work, the easier that will be for you to do. But you can walk a little bit and then stop and say, well, I'm out of line. Okay, I'm going to get back in alignment. I'm going to do a little walking, and then I may stop, realign yourself, and then walk. But with all of the other things that you're doing, that these things will create that environment where you can walk without causing any problems. Another type of walking that you can do that might help you learn how to do that is to walk with putting the your heel up against the arch of your foot. And so this is maybe easier to do for some people. And this is the Charlie Chaplin walk. This is how he walked. But it helps you keep from going from side to side while keeping your balance. You might also find that Holding your forearms out as you walk is helpful. You can even put a little bit of weight in the palms of your hands. That helps to keep that upper part of your body upright. Helps to keep you from going over like this, because you're holding something up while you walk. This has been very helpful for me to learn to do that. So you can use all these tips. Go back and review all of these lessons, and each one will help you with this process. I've given you all the tools you need. So now all you do is give yourself the gift of repetition and learning how to do this. Practice with curiosity and joy. And I'm going to end today with this. This is the end of the balance lessons. Next week, we're going to learn how to help people get up out of a chair if you have someone who can't get out of a chair, how to help people get out of bed if you have someone in the household who needs help, and then what happens if you do end up on the floor. So thank you, and we'll see you for the next lesson. Okay, this is class 11, and we're going to show you some tips for helping people who need help up getting out of a chair, getting out of bed, and what can happen if you end up on the floor. We'll give you some tips for getting up out of the floor. And Sharon's going to be my helper today. When you need to help someone get out of a chair, if you think back to the ways we showed you to get out of the chair, you have this person do several things. And one is to get your feet a little bit underneath of you and have them sit on their sits bones, not slumping, and reach out. Sharon just showed me that this is more helpful. This is helpful for pulling someone up. If they don't have good strong hands, this may be harder. So we're going to do it this way. And I want Sharon to look at me in my eyes and don't help me with getting up. She's just supposed to sit there. In fact, you can even lean back a little bit. I'm going to get you up. Okay? Now sit down. If Sharon puts her head down or she tries to pull with her arms, it's harder. Mm-hmm. It's much harder. See, this is hard. So the key is to have the feet in the right position, have them on their sits bones. Don't let them help you, and look in your eyes, and we can get you up. Easy, easy, easy. Okay. Now the next will be helping someone get out of bed. Now, if you're going to get yourself out of bed, this is a good way to do it. You get to the edge, roll. Don't get so close that you're going to roll out. You can put a hand here and push up. Push yourselves up. What you do is, at the same time that you push this part up, you let your legs drop. So that gives you a lever to do that, you see. Or the other thing you can do with your hands is leave this on the bed, put your two hands together, and press down with the other hand, and that just flips you right up. So if you have someone who needs help, well, the next thing we'll show is Sharon will help me show you what to do. All right, Sharon's going to help me here. I'm going to help Sharon get out of bed. What I want to show you is how I'm moving my body so I'm not hurting myself. I will be helping her out of bed by just raising this arm a little bit, letting her legs fall off, but I'm going to lift up with my legs. I am not going to pull with my arms. So I'm going to be doing this like this. It's a little hard to see when I have Sharon in my arms. So, Sharon, would you move over to the side, please? Thank you. Okay. And now roll a little bit to this, roll onto your side. There you go. Okay. Now I'm going to put my arms around her knees and my arms around her shoulder, and I'm just going to flip her like that. What the weight of the legs going down makes it easier to put the other part up. So that's how you help someone get out of bed. Sometimes you're going to end up on the floor. Hopefully it's not through a fall. My recommendation is that you practice getting down on the floor and back up often. It keeps you a little more flexible. It shows you, eventually you get options on how to do these things. And if you do start to fall, there's a lot that's going on just very quickly. But if you have that fear of the floor from the very start, your muscles will tense and you will make a harder fall. If your body is used to getting down on the floor, your body will have some options as you're off balance. Okay, I can do this. You'll still fall, but hopefully you won't fall as badly as if you were just stiff and afraid and didn't have any idea how to fall. So think of this practice of getting on the floor as partly fall prevention. Now, if you do end up on the floor, my recommendation is, first of all, if there's something that is, if you're bleeding, if you're dizzy, if you think something is broken, don't try to get up if you have other options. If you think that you're just sprained or strained, don't be in any hurry to get off the floor. Get your body and your nervous system back in alignment. Kind of calm down. Let things calm down. Give your blood supply a little bit of time to go into that elbow that you might have hurt. And just don't be in any hurry. You don't need to be in any hurry getting off the floor. That's a very healing thing. But if you do end up on the floor, if you do end up on the floor, how do you get up? You roll, this is one way to get up. You roll over, push up with your hand, and get on all fours. Then you can crawl. Crawl over to something that is stable, a chair. If someone was helping you to get up, they would help you from this side. So now you have 3 points on the floor. You want to stabilize your back by tensing your muscles here in your abdomen. Tense your abdomen, bring this foot forward, and push, and come up. And that is one way to get up off the floor. It's the simplest one to show. So I'm hoping that you're not afraid of the floor, that you'll add that to your practice of getting up and down off the floor, even though it's difficult for most people. And with that, thank you very much. The next lesson is showing you my Tai Chi routine, which got much, much better once I started to put all of these balance issues that I've given you into my practice. This is the 12th lesson and final lesson, and I've really enjoyed bringing all of these tips and techniques for good balance to you. I've learned all those things over a number of years through a number of different courses that I've taken and things that I've read. I want to show you the Tai Chi that I've done. Once I started to apply these things to my Tai Chi, it got much, much, much better. Tai Chi is called meditation in motion, and I think you're going to enjoy watching what good balance can do.